Hey, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, glory, and honor to y'all. Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Kakadash. Double honor to the elders that rule well. Peace and blessings to you brothers out there preaching His word in sincerity and truth. This is Sign Nala coming back with another lesson. Man, I was just haven't been home in a while, and we just been meditating on certain things, and one thing that I was kind of meditating on and just praying about, thinking about, was how Esau is constantly trying to put his vibration, his energy on your mind and on your spirit. And when it he's constantly trying to detach you away from the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and what our mind needs to be on. And particular scriptures resonated to me, how the apostles in the scriptures, and our apostles as examples here on earth, have their mind constantly on the end, constantly on the kingdom, and finishing the race. You know what I'm saying? They would, there's many scriptures where it goes into how their hindsight, the foresight and hindsight, was the end of this thing, the things that's going to happen, but it's going to manifest into the glory of the kingdom. And so I just wanted to kind of get a couple scriptures that touched on that thought, and Lord willing, this is edifying, because Esau wants you to think like him. He wants you to be in his vibration, because if you move outside of his will, of his vibration, he just loses his damn mind. You got this guy Stephen Curry, who said something that was true. And now you see these people trying to demonize him over something that like that. He mentioned how these Edomites didn't go to the moon. They didn't land on the moon, which there's plenty of evidence proving that these Edomites didn't land on the damn moon. But lo and behold, in the media, they're trying to make him seem like he's just crazy and dumb and stupid, because it doesn't, his thought process doesn't follow the ideology and the things that they're trying to push onto the world and onto the planet, man. So Esau's mindset, he wants you to believe that his kingdom, his way of life, his way of being is going to continue on forever, man. And that's just not a vibration that he is into. That vibration he's trying to push onto the nation of Israel, and a lot of Israelites are following in that vibration. This is Psalms chapter 49, verse 10. It says, "For he seeth that wise men die, likewise the fool and the brutish person perish and leave their wealth to others. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own name. Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beast that perisheth." And so his complete mindset is the way he rules, the way he is going to continue on and on and on. And we should revel in the glory of this wicked kingdom versus keeping our eyes single and focused on the kingdom of heaven and the destruction of this place. I have some Jake that work with me, and the whole idea of someone invading this country and taking down this establishment in the known world is something that he can't even fathom. He's like, "Well, we got all these guns, the people. America's the most armed country in the world, and no one, if someone's coming to these shores, we'll take them out." And me, I'm just listening, in my head laughing, man, because they don't understand that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is something amazing that's going to happen for the elect in the nation of Israel, and watching the destruction from the inside out of this place, and you're seeing it spiritually. You see in the minds of these people are divided mentally, and then you're going to see it on the physical level, and it's going to be beautiful, man. The Lord is going to destroy Babylon the Great, the virgin daughter of Babylon, man, in a devastating fashion. But if you're not in tune with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, if you're not in tune with what the scriptures are saying and the Holy Spirit, you ain't going to be able to receive that. Okay? So I'm going to jump over to Psalms 145. This whole chapter is good, but I'm going to start at verse 6. This is Psalms chapter 145, verse 6. It says, "And men shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts, and I will declare thy greatness. They shall abundantly utter the memory of thy great goodness, and shall sing of thy righteousness. Yahweh Shem Yahushua is gracious and full of compassion, slow to anger and great mercy. Yahweh Shem Yahushua is good to all, and his tender mercies are over all his works. All thy works shall praise thee, O Yahweh, and thy saints shall bless thee. They shall speak of the glory of thy kingdom. And that's what we speak about when we're doing lessons, whether we're on the highways and byways, when we're talking amongst each other, fellowshipping. We're talking about constantly the glory of thy kingdom and talk of thy power. Okay? To make known to the sons of men his mighty acts. Right? So the whole world is going to see the mighty acts of the Most High, and they're going to know it was Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They're going to know it was the men that we were talking about, man. They're going to know. They ain't going to think about Buddha. They're not going to think about Jesus. They're not going to think about Allah. They're going to think about, man, what was it, Yahweh? They're going to know that it was the might and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to bring down the society. And the glorious majesty of his kingdom, man, because it's going to be erected in righteousness, and the mighty men, then the elect and the 144 are going to rule in righteousness. Okay, thy kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and thy dominion endureth throughout all generations. Right? Because when you talk about King David, he wasn't talking about that kingdom that he was ruling in, where he was constantly fighting and battling. He wasn't talking about that. So his mind was constantly on that everlasting kingdom. Right? And we're talking about the king of all Israel at this time. You know, who could slay thousands of men alone. He had might and power. Right? So if his mind is on the kingdom, and the everlasting kingdom and dominion, what should your mindset be, being a lowly Israelite here in captivity, a slave? He wasn't settled on his leave, so we shouldn't be either. The Lord upholdeth all that fall, and raiseth up all that be bowed down. The eyes of all wait upon thee, and thou givest them their meat in due season. And that's what we're focused on. We're solely focused on making it to the end, and receiving that reward, which is dominion in the kingdom of heaven, rulership, power, glory, being able to raise your family as a man the right way, to be able to eat good food, have sustenance and abundance, women in order, ruling. Okay. This is Romans chapter 13 verse 11. It says, and knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. Right? So they're constantly, even at that time, they were constantly talking about the end. Okay? So how much more so now? There's that, in Acts, the first chapter, when they were with the Lord, he had came back. He had rose from the dead, and they was with him. What question did they ask him? This is Acts 1:6. It says, when they therefore were come together, so they were there fellowshipping, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel? And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. So this prophecy had to be fulfilled, okay, because at that time they were right there in that area of Judea, but the Lord knew that we had to be Jerusalem had to fall, right? We had to get pushed out. Then we had to Deuteronomy 28 had to be fulfilled, right? Because all the tribes weren't together again at that time. The tribes had to come back together, because you had the northern tribe that was already on the other side of the world. So all of these different things had to happen, right? Okay, but that mind was constantly on getting out of captivity and being raised back up as the top nation on the planet Earth, right? You know, I'm going to jump, and it's like I'm jumping around, but I'm just showing examples of how the apostles and the disciples' mindset was constantly on the end. Even though they knew all this had to happen, you know, but they was constantly focused on getting out of this distress, you know. This is Luke 21. Sorry, 20. It says, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed about with armies, then know that the desolation therefore is nigh. Right? So this is a future prophecy of what was going to happen to Jerusalem in the time of the Lord. It says, then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereunto. Right? For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. And that's, you know, time of 70 AD. You know, it says, but woe unto them that are with child, and them that are that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive unto all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Right? And now we know that those Gentiles are us, you know, because we had got decimated, and then we fled into the land of the Gentiles. So we lived amongst these other nations, right? It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars upon the earth, distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with the power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Right? Your redemption draweth nigh, man. So that's what we're looking for. All these things happen. Now, most of this prophecy has happened already. Right? So we know here on this side in Babylon the Great that we're waiting for the Lord to crack them clouds. Right? We're waiting on that. So what's our mindset is on? It's constantly on that. Because those things have to be fulfilled, you know? Right? Because we know great destruction is coming. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Because we know after the great destruction and the desolation of the land worldwide, it's going to be redemption of the elect of the nation of Israel. So people get upset at us because our mind is constantly on that. But hey, you know, just because you're on a bad foot of that, hey, you know, don't mean we're going to stop preaching this word, you know. It's like do it like this. Trip on me. There it is. Now I'm gonna jump to the second Ezra. I was misspelling it, so I'm tripping. No, I want to read the whole chapter. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 1. It says, he answered me then, saying, measure now the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So he was just telling them, hey, look, you see some of this stuff happening, know that it's just about to pop off. So your mind needs to be constantly on that, you know. So we can't have our Satan attack our mind, and we constantly are weighed down by the mundane day-to-day life that Esau has put on to the whole planet, right? Because Esau created this infrastructure to keep you dumbed down, to keep your mind weak, to keep your spirit sunken low, right? Keep you in that sunken place, right? But we have the ability to tap into that spiritual power through Yahweh Shem Yahushua to where we can overcome those things through the spirit. So we have to constantly be tapping into that source, right? We got to constantly, we know, like just like Neil said, I know Kung Fu. So we're constantly just upgrading ourselves in the spirit, right? It said, verse 3, Salakia, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. And so we're constantly dwelling on that. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from said pearls, and shall see my salvation in my hand. So we're not, our mind is not on being destroyed. Our mindset is on making it. Okay, this is what they said that we have to do to make it. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Because if you truly sincere and you doing the work, and you got to believe that Yahweh Shem Shah is dealing with you, man. You know. Now you have fear and reverence to the Most High, but you don't fear working. You don't fear anything else, even death, because you know the power that you serve controls all of that. Right. So just do your job. Right. Okay. It says. Verse 8, it says, shall be preserved from the said pearls, and shall see my salvation in my land and with my borders, if I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So, you know, just like when you read in Ephesians, the first chapter, we know that the elect was chosen from the beginning, right? So we fighting for that slot of the 144,000, right? So I'm going to jump over to chapter 6. The second Ezra 6 and 7. It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Right? This is the question he's asking. Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of that follow? Bring of it that follows. Right? So we see what his mind was on. All right. Okay. So what's up? What's going to be the end? You know. It says, he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand first held of Esau's heel, of the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? The hand of the man is betwixt the heel of the hand. Other question, Ezra asked thou not. It says, and then I answered then and said, O Lord, that bears rule, if I have found favor in thy sight, I beseech thee, show thy servant the end of thy tokens, wherefore thou showest me part the last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand up upon thy feet, and hear a mighty sounding voice, and it shall be as if it were a great motion, but the place where thou standest shall not be moved. And therefore when it speaketh, be not afraid, for the word is of the end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembleth and is moved, for it knoweth that the end of these things must be changed. Right? You know, you can keep reading down on it, but the point is, Ezra's mindset was constantly dwelling on what was going to happen next. What do I need to be looking out for? Is it happening now? What's going on? Okay, because he knew that time was coming. You know. And I'm gonna give one more last script out of Second Ezra's. This is Second Ezra's, the 15th chapter. I can start it. I start at verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. So it's talking about the destruction of the world, right? Right? Not the complete destruction of the world, but there's going to be devastating things happening, right? And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and their course of their action shall stand in their power. Right? Just like you see in these other peoples and all these other countries, it's going to come here to America. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's called martial law right there. And where they block off the cities and got curfews, that's coming. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Behold, said the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also in recompense in their bosom. Thus said the Lord Yahweh. Right? My right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. The fire is gone forth from his wrath, and has consumed the foundations of the earth, and sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, said the Lord. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power, and defile not my sanctuary. For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. So now we have the blueprint. So now we know we need to follow the Most High's instructions. We need to follow his law, so we don't get destroyed, right? But then we were watching to see all of this happen. We're like, oh man, this is what Israel was talking about, right? Versus worrying about, all the mundane BS that Esau wants you constantly dwelling on, man. Things that don't matter, man. Things that don't lead into salvation. Okay, things that don't lead unto the glory of the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? We're constantly watching. We're constantly meditating on the end. I'm gonna grab a couple more scriptures, and that I'll be it on that. This is 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 18. Let me see. It says, "And the Lord shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen." Well, in fact, let me start up. Verse 10. No, I don't have to start there. Yeah, this is 2 Timothy chapter 4. I started verse 16. It says, At my first answer no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. I prayed the Most High that it may not be laid to their charge. Notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, and that all the Gentiles might hear. And I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. And the Lord shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom, to whom be glory forever and ever. And again, we see there Paul, the apostles, their mindset was constantly on doing the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, not getting disenchanted by the pearls and the things that come to us, because that's promising to us, because the Yahushua suffers, so we're going to suffer because we call on his name. Right? They're going to attack us. They're going to demonize us. They're going to call us all types of names. They're going to throw us in jail. They're going to kill us. They're going to do everything they can. But we are steadfast focused on that glory of the kingdom of heaven. Right? We're just constantly seeking out that reward. So day to day, when things come to us, we just know that, hey, we pray that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is with us, and we make it through that, and we know that this devil's going down. James chapter 5 verse 8, it says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and been wanton, ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Let me start up. Okay, this verse 4 is, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and have been wanton. Ye nourish your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and doeth not resist. He doeth not resist you. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, right? And hath long patience for it, until he receiveth the early and latter rain. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Hey, I'm just gonna end it on that, man. We know that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is coming to redeem us, to bring vengeance on the wicked of the world and the 2/3, and we're patiently waiting on that, man. So our mind is constantly meditating on that, and we're just to cry loud and blow the trumpet of all the abominations we've done thereof, and warn our people of the coming destruction that draweth nigh. And with that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the elders that rule well. Peace and blessings to you brothers out there preaching His word in sincerity and truth. Shalom.